孤独な頬を濡らすけど夜明けの気配が静かに満ちて私を空へ招くよ希望が彼方で待ってるそうだよ行くよ
When it comes to anime, I always wind up surprised by the type of shows I wind up seeing. So most of the time I go into a show with little to no expectations, and sometimes not even know what the show is about. I found that at times this way of viewing anime can have some pretty interesting positives and negatives. On one hand, since I experience shows blindly, I go in with no biases. Any opinions I have of the show is without outside interference. On the other hand, it can also mean I might take longer to see shows that are amazing. For example, I only recently finished shows like Code Geass and Death Note in the past few months. However, my ability to find good shows is getting better, and one of those gems I've seen recently is Kyoukai no Kanata, or Beyond the Boundary. Now, this isn't really a review on the show's plot, or an in-depth analysis of the show. I won't really be doing that sort of thing, so you can expect no spoilers. But rather, it's a look into what I personally liked and didn't like about the show, and more importantly, if based on what I personally liked or didn't like, if I think other people should watch it too. Now, let's get right into it. I really enjoyed watching this show. When I first got into anime way back when, there were two things I loved most about the medium: the general aesthetics and the stories anime told. I grew up with cartoons, and as fond as my memories are for them, even as a kid I found myself sick to death of episodic storytelling and stagnant, samey characters. Anime in comparison was beautiful and fascinating to me, with unique, memorable characters, interesting and creative plots, and not to mention it was literally my first experience with continuity. Years later, although my tastes have matured a bit and I'm able to enjoy shows of all kinds, I find I still carry that love of aesthetics and design. That's one major way Beyond the Boundary appeals to me. To put it simply, the show is just pretty. Like, I just love looking at it. The characters are each well crafted and are memorable, especially the character Mirai. I know Mirai is supposed to be moe and every aspect of her is designed with cuteness in mind, but gosh darn it if they don't succeed. The animation isn't anything to sneeze at either, as it has a nice flow to it, especially during the action scenes. Personally, I found the highlight of the show to be the characters themselves. Each character is interesting, and I found the highlight of the show to be simply watching the characters interact with each other. You feel the characters slowly becoming friends, and you really get to see their friendships progress. The plot of the show was interesting enough too. It served its purpose of creating attention for the characters and creating drama where it needed to. I didn't really think the overall plot was as enjoyable as watching the characters live out their slice of supernatural life, but when the story starts kicking in more toward the end of the show, it did lead to some of the more well-done action scenes, so I'm definitely not complaining. The storyline isn't always focused either. For example, the filler episode in episode 6. And the slice of life elements are easily the better bits of the show. Since it's only 12 episodes long, that lack of focus can be a bit of a problem story-wise. However, I personally didn't mind, as the show never felt boring and never got too disjointed. The characters are enjoyable enough on their own to make those times seem less important overall. While the world the characters lived in was fascinating, the show doesn't spend much time explaining it, and many aspects of it left me feeling curious and slightly disappointed when we didn't get too many explanations on how and why certain things worked.
It's got that entire society that's built in that seems like It makes a lot of sense until you really start looking at it, because who do they sell these demon crystals to?
They sell the demon crystals to the demons themselves.
Well, in the show, they're selling
like
it
the
to
hunters
those
sell them
other
to the woman.
dream shades.
But what does she do with them?
Overall, I had a lot of fun with the show. While not the best story-wise, the strengths lie in its interesting and likable characters, style, and bits of action scenes. If you're a fan of slice of life and moe, but you're also looking for just a touch of supernatural elements in action, there's a lot of fun to be had here. If you're looking for a more serious show with an interesting, complex plot, this probably won't satisfy you. However, if you don't mind the odd combination of cute and mild violence, you should definitely give this show a viewing. So, giving everything I've said about it, equally weighing the pros and the cons of the show, and carefully considering its individual aspects, I would rate this show perfect 10 out of 10 anime of the year.